military invasion of Panama. That's what happened on the first invasion of Panama. An American lieutenant was killed, and the United States invaded because look at October 7th in Israel. October 7th, that was a clear staked goat. That was a clear green flag attack. That was clearly allowed to happen, right? That was clearly not just Hamas killing Jews. That is not what happened. Keep in mind, I've done a lot of combat, right? I was in special forces, but later as a war correspondent, I did a lot of combat in Iraq and Afghanistan and other places. I know how long it takes to get a Black Hawk off the ground. It takes about 4 minutes, right? Let's say 6 minutes for a slow crew. All you Black Hawk people watching this, you know, you can get wheels up from a cold Black Hawk in 6 minutes, right? So if you got a QRF, quick reaction force, you can be wheels up in 6 minutes, even if you're having a slow day, right? But if you're a QRF, you should be wheels up maximum 4 minutes, right? Why did it take an entire McDonald's shift for the IDF, the vaunted Israeli Defense Forces, to get into action? It took them 7 or 8 hours, an entire McDonald's shift, when Blackhawks go 180 knots, right? Israel's not that big. They should have been in combat immediately. They should have been slinging lead within 20, 30 minutes. Now, I've had people tell me, you don't understand, they have to make a plan. And to that, I would say, shut up, right? If you're a real soldier and you know about these sorts of things and you've actually done combat, right? You know, this is how it goes. They're killing my people. We're going to get on the birds. We're going to go to the sound of gunfire, and we're going to engage the enemy, right? If we get our helicopter shot down, we'll bring more. If we got our guys killed, we'll bring more. We're going to get you. We're going to hunt you down. We're going to kill you, right? We're going to stop you. But why did it take 7 or 8 hours to do this? Why, right? Because it was an obvious green flag attack so that Israel, the Zionists actually, let's call it that, what it is, could take. And remember, Zionists don't equal Jews. Many Zionists are Christians or atheists, even some Muslims. People will say, you don't know what you're talking about. There's no Muslim Zionists. And to that, again, I say ceasefire. You don't know what you're talking about. People say that all the time. There are. Look at the Kurds, right? Okay, right? I spent a lot of time with Kurds, right? Many of the Kurds are actually Zionists, and they're Muslims, right? Not all, but many, right? Now, bottom line is, it took 7 or 8 hours to really start slinging lead back at Hamas, right? Why? Because Gaza is not far from Suez Canal. There's a lot of energy off the coast. It's also right on the path of the Indo-European corridor that starts at Mumbai and goes to the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, through Israel, Haifa, and Gaza, right? They want to build the Ben Gurion Canal. It's all about routes and resources. If you take Gaza, take out Gaza, you can take that energy, build your Ben Gurion Canal. You can eventually take the Suez Canal. You can make the greater Israel, right? You can end up controlling the Strait of Hormuz. You can make your own canal. You can, if you control the Strait of Hormuz and the Suez Canal and this canal here, which is, and I was just down and looking at this in Argentina, it's the same fight going down there. A lot of the fight going on is actually between Zionists and China, right? I know that sounds off the wall. There's only less than 1% of the people will get what I'm saying, right? But this town actually, well, believe it or not, there's more going on than meets the eye, and it cannot be understood with the bad Russians are invading Ukraine. It cannot be understood with Hamas attacked the poor Jews that are out doing drugs at their party next to Gaza, where they shouldn't have been having a party without any notice and no security, right? This was what's called a staked goat attack, right? But that's why I mentioned I would not doubt seeing Americans killed in the street here in Panama. I wouldn't doubt if it would be me, actually, because that would be big news, right? And that would be casus belli to invade and take the Panama Canal and take Panama. Again, they have copper, they have gold, they have silver, they have lumber, they have a route to Colombia, right? And a route that goes all the way from Patagonia all the way to Alaska, right? Once you bridge the Darien Gap, you've got it. You can do trade all the way by so many different ways. The bottom line is, again, Panama is a juicy lamb wearing a bunch of pork chops, and it's defenseless, right? You've got CCP wants it. Zionists want it. United States wants it. Trump is a Zionist. He's openly a Zionist. Zionism is a political party. It is not Jews. Many Zionists are Steve Bannon, whom I communicate with frequently. He is a Zionist. He'll tell you that publicly, right? Trump is publicly a Zionist, right? He's not a Republican, not a Democrat. He's a Zionist, right? So they're operating on a global scale, right? And so there's a lot more going on than meets the eye. If you don't put the right lens on your camera, you're not going to be able to get into focus and zoom in to what's actually going on, or be able to zoom out and see the bigger picture, right? Right here, again, they've got to take Panama. Somebody's going to take it. Somebody's going to take this juicy lamb with all these pork chops around its neck because it's too valuable to leave alone. Now, for those who've studied Mahan and Mackinder and these sorts of things, you know why we predicted Nord Stream would be cut. You know why we predicted way so far in advance we were going to end up at this moment in Panama, and why we predicted so many other things in advance, because we study these things 7 days a week and we know what we're talking about. I'm not the only one. I have a team that I've assembled over years. They're very serious people, right? And we go all over the world and we look at these things. There's no way I can study all this myself. We get together, we do study sessions together, not struggle sessions, but study sessions, where we read books together, compare notes. We'll send somebody to a different country, comes back, we do our briefings together, that sort of thing. That's what we do. There's a reason why we know what's going on, and there's a reason why we're here right now. And you're going to end up seeing, I want to repeat it, a genocide in Ireland. That's my personal prediction.
Michael, I'm wondering if these scenarios I'm going to tell you about indicate a backlash against the weaponization of immigration. We've had in this country, we've had Elon Musk calling out Keir Starmer for protecting the grooming gangs for votes, getting the votes and protecting them. And then we had the Southport stabbings of the little girls, which was horrific. And there was riots all across the country. So do you think these are indicative of the pendulum about to swing the other way against the weaponization of immigration?
Well, you know, I've traveled all over this world. Although I'm American, I've spent most of my life outside of the United States. I've been to 99 countries that I've actually, no kidding, been to, right? So just short of 100. I have seen a lot of this world. I've seen the United States in detail, right? Coast to coast, up and down, right? One of the things I've learned in all this travel, I say that to say the next thing, setting the table, right? Some fish don't mix well in the same aquarium. And when you started to see Europe really being invaded hardcore in 2016, some of us spoke up immediately. Of course, we were labeled racist and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You got all these purple-headed people, the zombies on their drugs and whatnot, screaming at the sky and, you know, talking about racism and whatever. They're just zombies, right? And now it's happening. Now they're being raped all over the place. They're being murdered. Little children are being raped and murdered. Men are being raped and murdered. Women are being raped and murdered. These guys were being invaded by millions. Some fish don't mix well in the same aquarium. That's what this is all about, to destroy our countries with drugs, with weaponized invasions, with death jabs, with all sorts of other things. Weaponized everything. Everything has become a weapon, right? I saw on a private chat this morning that a man said his 80-year-old father, under Chatham House rules, I can say this, I just can't say who said it, but he said his 80-year-old father, who his whole life has been investing in other things like bonds, is now suddenly investing in Bitcoin. And he got a lot of his information from ChatGPT. You can't make up this stuff, right? You can't make it up. Like when people send me Wikipedia articles, and I'm like, listen, man, one more Wikipedia article and I'll block you. I don't have time for bullshit, right? Wikipedia is an information war, right? And they'll say, oh, Wikipedia is cited and da-da-da-da-da. Let me tell you how information works. They buy entire newspapers, right? They buy our entire ecosystems, right? This isn't new. In the late 1800s, if you read the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island, entire newspapers, well, actually, often they don't buy the newspaper. They just buy the latest editor, right? They buy the editors, or they buy the entire newspapers, magazines, TV stations, Twitter. You know what I mean? They just buy the whole thing, right? And then they end up owning it, and then they are now the master of the information. Remember, information war is the top of the game on information war. These murders are by design. All they had to do was put these fish in our fish tank. How did they do that? Got everybody all drugged up and happy, eating chicken wings, watching football, telling me they got a right to smoke dope, right? While we're on the border saying, you're being invaded. They're going to chop your head off. They're going to kill you. They're going to kick your head down the road. They're going to take your women, right? This is no joke. This is a real war, right? And those